Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Very excited to bring you this one. This one's going to be at TPC Harding Park in San Francisco, California. Now, I've been wanting to play this golf course for a while, and I finally bit the bullet and came out. Now, if you're not familiar with TPC Harding Park, it is a public accessible facility, meaning anyone can play. The only thing though is because it's one of the top rated courses in the US, it is quite expensive. So if you are not a California resident or a San Francisco resident, it's gonna be quite expensive. And the one thing is, I do love how they do that. Resident rates are so cool, so important, because it allows people that live there to be able to take advantage of this golf course at a cheaper rate. I think Torrey Pines does this as well. But essentially, if you're a resident, I think the rate was about $60, $70 or so. And thankfully for me, I was able to call the head pro in advance, and they gave me the residency rate. Now, for the most part, being a PGA of Canada professional, I do get to play golf for free as long as I call up in advance, let them know. They're usually pretty good with it, but I've found with courses in the US, it's a little bit harder to get free golf. So honestly, a big discount I'm totally fine with. But if I didn't get a discount, it was going to cost around, I think it's $220 US. So for a Canadian, you can add pretty much another, 26% on top of that. So it's not cheap. I'd say if you're coming out of town and you're not a professional golfer, this is definitely a course to play, but just know it is quite expensive. So you want to make sure it's worth it. And I think for me, it definitely is, especially this back nine. And now just to get a little bit into the golf, we teed off the back nine first, and I think the back nine is the better of the two nines, to be honest. Now, it was quite wet here because the time I played, they had those mega storms there for a while. This was actually one of the few sunny days that they actually had there, so that was kind of lucky for me. But I played basically the same week as or a few days after Pebble Beach tournament was canceled, the final round. So if that gives you any indication to how rainy and stormy it actually was. So the conditions were quite soft. So the ball was spinning quite a bit. The greens were, I'll be honest, the greens were not the best, to be honest. They were very bumpy, very slow. And again, it's a public golf course, a lot of rain in the winter. So there's only so much you can do. You can't really cut them when they're this soft. So when you can't cut them, they're going to get a little bit hairier and the ball's not going to roll as true on the greens. But I have been here in the summer, putted on the practice green, and I'll tell you, the greens are quite good. So I have no complaints. I was just kind of letting you know. So for future, if you are going to come down in maybe February, January, just kind of expect maybe more wet conditions and soft conditions. It was a little bit muddy in the rough. The fairways were great. The fairways were unreal. But the rough was quite muddy, so you had to watch where you were stepping because you definitely would get wet. There were a couple times my nice white shoes weren't so white. But looking at the golf course here, this is the best stretch on the golf course right here. I'd say 14 to 18 is absolutely the best stretch here. This is a great hole. I didn't get to talk about 14, but that's a beast of a hole. I think it was like 400. The card says 440, but I think it was playing closer to 460 because I was at the back tee box. I always go to the very far back tee box when I'm playing a new golf course. Well, I'm pretty much playing any golf course. But this kind of stretch here has all of Lake Merced on the left, as you can see here, the drone view of the 16th hole. This is actually the hole that Colin Morikawa drove and made eagle in the 2020 PGA Championship to win. So obviously we're going to go for the green, and I absolutely sent it into those trees. So to be fair, it was into the wind and it was cold. We were not hitting a 335. And this was a great shot, 65 yards, lob wedge. That tree was a lot closer than it looked, and I basically opened the face, swung as hard as I can, and basically try to play like a 100-yard shot, but I opened the face, and we managed to scoop up par, which is nice. And I'll be honest here, you're going to see me for a lot of these holes just kind of scooping up my putts, to be honest. When I'm playing with other people, especially when I'm filming, I try to be as quick as possible whether it comes to setting up for the shots or just like getting out of people's way. So typically, I'm not finishing these, one because I'm scared of missing them. I just want to get out of people's way. So here's the signature 18th hole. Very, very beautiful hole. Again, with Lake Merced on the left. The wind was kind of going left to right, so it kind of pushed that shot towards the bunkers, which is fine because you don't want to snap hook it into the water. So that wind off the left is actually quite healthy. Now this was a bad swing. It's 185 yards. I had a 7-iron here. I tried to flight it, and I just caught it a little steep, and it floated up, and it came up way short. I had like a 60-footer for the green, unfortunately. I definitely should have hit a drawing low 7-iron, kind of like near the pin. And I think that would have been a better shot. It was definitely a very avoidable bogey, and that front nine, or my front nine, the back nine, 3 over, not ideal. The back nine is definitely harder, but I feel like my bogeys were quite bad. I dumped 2 in the bunker with about a 7-iron from like 170 yards. Didn't get up and down, and then a 3-putt there. So that is a very disappointing front nine, but hopefully we can at least make one birdie on the back nine here. But the front nine is a little bit more parkland style golf. You don't really get any views of the water, to be honest. That's all on the back nine. So if you're playing this hole or this golf course the way it's designed, you get the front nine first and the back nine. So you would finish off with beautiful views and a great closing few holes. I would definitely have preferred that, to be honest, as opposed to finishing off on the front nine. It would have been nice to have this kind of warm you up, because again, this is the easier nine compared to the back nine, so you kind of ease your way into some of those harder holes on the back nine. But as you can see here, we put on a putting clinic for how to not putt, essentially. And I really feel like I couldn't get the speed. This is my first round coming back from Arizona. I actually left Arizona, what was it? The day before. And I drove, I think, 12 hours, 11 hours? So I'd played golf the previous day, and the greens were lightning, the greens were quick. And to come from those to these, I found it very, very hard to adjust. A lot of my putts I missed. Like, I was hitting everything like 2 feet short the whole day. And the putts I did get to the hole, I just didn't read them correctly. But that's okay. We got a par 5 here. Blasted this one a little bit right. I was trying to like send it over the corner, but I just came out of it. So I'm gonna have like 300 yards. So there's no chance for me to get to this one. Into the par 5s here, and again, look at the rough. If you are hitting out of the rough here, especially par 5s, like good luck getting there in 2. It is thick, like I said, with 3 C's here. It is it's brutal. And again, there's another putt. Like, that was a good putt. It just lacked a little bit of speed. We would have had a great chance of making it, but I just didn't want to. Now, I found the front 9 holes here. A lot of them kind of blended in. Holes 1, 2, 5 all seem like really similar. So if I am gonna like throw like any bit of criticism towards the layout of the golf course, it's kind of that. They're a little forgettable. There's not a lot of like nuance to them. The greens aren't crazy slopey. It just kind of ranges from 400 yards to 440 for I think those 3 holes. So it's just the length of the holes here. Now, this was a good hole. A really dogleg left par 4, and this is the only hole that's not going to have a tracer on it because I snap hooked this one quite bad. We rifled it into the tree, so we're going to have to do the same thing again here. I think I got, 225 yards. Closed a 5-iron here, swung hard, and this was a great shot. This absolutely sent it around the trees, but I just overcooked it a little bit too much, and then it hit the last tree here and dropped down. So I got about 40 yards out of the thick rough. But yeah, I think if I were to play this golf course again, I would definitely prefer playing the front 9 first. Ideally in better conditions, a little bit warmer, a little bit. Well, actually, no, we had a warm day, to be honest. It was more so how wet the golf course was. And this hole here, number 7, they said was a signature hole in the front 9, 340 yards, drivable. Didn't feel very drivable today with no roll. Sent it into the green or the fairway bunker. This is probably my best shot of the day, to be honest. I opened up a 50-degree and basically just hit it like a bunker shot, and I hit it to like like 7 feet and just threw up all over this putt. So unfortunate. I just could not make a putt the whole day. I hit a lot of really bad putts, but I also hit some good ones that just didn't go in. So that's kind of the way she goes, unfortunately. But we're kind of coming to the tail end of this golf course, and we're finishing on a par 3 8th. And I found a lot of the par 3s were all the exact same yardage. Again, another criticism, not to be too critical, but every single par 3 today felt like it was a 7-iron or a 6-iron. It was between like 180 to like 195 yards, and I think I hit the same club on almost every single one of them. But we're ending off here on a par 5, and the heavens unfortunately started opening up. The group in front of us was so slow on this hole. We were just waiting. They were taking pictures because there's a rainbow on the right, and it started pouring. So if we would have been able to finish, we would have been able to get out of this rain. But I did hit a dart here about 20 feet for eagle, so it'd be hard to mess this one up. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys watching. This is a really cool golf course. I really enjoyed filming it, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Just make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, it really did.